Kenya has for many years now been viewed as a beacon of economic stability, but many Kenyans still believe that that stability could be coming under threat, all thanks to our current public policies that touch on economy. How true is that? Of course, we're going to delve into that on this yet another insightful edition of Business Glide, your number one show on matters public policy and economics at large, hosted by yours truly, Richard Mwenje. Indeed, an honor to have you on board. With me to delve into today's plethora of issues on this show is East Africa's most renowned public scholar, the first of his name, Herman Manyora. Great to see you, sir.
Those accolades of yours, they are not true, but yeah, I'm okay.
They are not true. A man from Vihiga who meets presidents?
I'm a small man. Yes, it's okay, I'm okay.
Yeah, but rumor has it you were at State House just a few days ago. How true could that be?
But State House is for Kenyans. I can go there and talk to the president because he's my president. What will be so difficult about that?
Could you have been the magic hands behind the scene that saw the truth?
It's possible. I'm a Kenyan.
You're a Kenyan?
Yeah, an elder statesman, a senior citizen.
Or are you looking for development carrots, as other MPs are going there for?
I'm a simple man. Money doesn't mean much to me.
It doesn't?
No.
Straight into today's conversation, sir, and you're starting with a subject that very recently has been highly emotive in this country, and that touches on matters agriculture and food security. This far, the most recent developments on that side is that the Ministry of Agriculture is setting up a food security master plan that will see the curbing of wastage and also increase in output in this country. We have seen partnerships with other countries on dam projects developments, on strategic food reserves being set up, and all those committees and agencies to deal with food security. For a start, from a general perspective, do you think the development of a master plan on food security is definitely the right way to start and what we've been waiting for far too long?
If we had one, but what we have is just a joke.
They are now developing one.
They are not. The thinking is poor.
How so?
Or weak, or both.
You don't have confidence?
Nobody's honest. They are not sincere. Either they are not sincere or they don't understand the problem and the challenges. So I don't give them much hope.
You don't give them much hope?
No.
But
in all sectors, the country is coming up with, governments are coming up with options that are the fourth, fifth, not the first, second option. Fourth, fifth, sixth, in every sector. They leave the easy one, the direct one, they go to others, and then they bring in donors.
The master plan will actually attract so many funds.
Why do you want donors? You don't need donors. You don't need 1 shilling from donors. What for?
We are not self-centered.
They want to keep you where you are forever, so they exploit you. Why do you need donors for? You don't need donors.
Do you mean there's a window of opportunity for us to be self-reliant on agriculture?
Of course, you don't need donors. You just need two things,
and
they are related. This country ought to be serious. You need seriousness in the country. And related to that is thinking. We need to be a country that puts thinking on the table. In everything we do, I want to see thinking that has gone into it. So far, zero. In every sector, all the things government is talking about is all rubbish. None of them can work.
But part of the big thinking, especially...
Not even one sector. All of them is rubbish. None of them can work. Look at the health sector. The myth of universal health services. And NHIF that should be the vessel, which is a fraud. How can it work? How can you solve health challenges in a country in such a stupid way?
The president has just addressed the issue, about 2 days ago, when he was addressing the Social Protection Conference, the third edition.
Yes.
And
I listened to that and I just laughed. From the first person who started talking to the last, I just laughed.
There are commendable strides there.
There is nothing. All that is rubbish. Nothing is there. Even as you say you want to pay people from July, how many are you paying? How much are you paying? How many people are covered? If you are talking of over 70, what percentage of the over 70 people are you covering? It's rubbish.
But then again,
all that is rubbish. It's complete rubbish. Nothing can work.
Even before the provision of services or healthcare services, it starts with those.
Look at 28 billion shillings. Everything about these things from 1963, at least 63 to around 69, we had very genuine plans, development plans, apart from the elitist approach in the sessional paper of 19 whatever. At least there were serious plans. But these days, our reliance on donor thinking, on donor funding, you scatter around the problem.
Bilateral ties.
You run away from the solutions and look outside. Some Western boy or girl will bring you solutions when you have the solutions yourself.
It is the same Western boy or girl who had helped other nations get to the tier 1 level.
Let them help their own nations. Let's help our own nations.
Part of helping our own nation, especially on that side of agriculture, before we go on to the social protection side, is the government's commitment to set up dams so that the country will go less on...
Who tells you this country requires dams? Number one.
Israel is banking on dams.
No, please, we are not Israel. This is Kenya. We have enough arable land to produce 10 times the maize we are producing, for example, without dams, without irrigation. God just pours water. Unaona kama sahi? Mvua tu ya Mungu. Israel iko na mvua. So before we even talk about dams, we can step up production of maize from the current 40 million bags to about 200 million bags without any dams, any irrigation. But while there, we can't avoid irrigation. But who tells you a dam must cost the billions it is costing? A dam ought to be a basin created by God. Yours is just to check the porosity, to check the soils, and then close uko chini na maji inakuja inayejaa. Hiyo ndio dam. Hapana kwenda a topology, a flat area. I want to do a dam here. Then you 60 billion, 20 billion. Rubbish. This country has a lot of stupid people. A dam is supposed to be a natural god. Something, a natural valley or a god somewhere. And a river is passing around. Then you direct the river there. Then you block. Having tested the rocks and the soils, whether they can withhold the water. Okay? And then you let water there and it becomes a dam. Then you use it for irrigation. Or rivers that are furious. You know, there's a word. These rivers that cause flooding.
Yeah, River Nzoia and such.
You just divert the water, the overflow. Like the tunnel of death in Moranga. So it is just the overflow. When the water is overflowing, when it is overflowing, the river is overflowing, it goes somewhere. Instead of flooding everywhere, looking at the area, the way the area is, it is blocking the lower part. Similar to dikes. And then the water fills there. You have not reduced the amount of water in the river. It is the water that overflows at a certain area. Strategically, that area must be one where when the water overflows it gets to a point where valley-like, where you can block. Not put there 30 billion. This country.
It is already in the pipeline, and the dams are going to come in whether you like it or not.
Those are projects for eating. They are not dams for agriculture.
But there's also another sufficient stride being made in the terms of giving value for our local farmers. Our porous borders, the government is heightening the security, border patrol, and also the integrity.
We don't need border patrols. We don't need to seal borders. We need to open borders more.
No more illegal maize from Uganda.
No, which illegal maize? If Kenyans are starving here and their neighbors want to give them maize, you know, the government should concern itself with more serious things. East Africans, from time immemorial, these are brothers and sisters. Wakuria wanatoka Tanzania wanasoma hapa Kenya. Leo wanataka kunaambia unafunga boundary.
Yeah.
Wamasai, wa Somali,
cheap imports.
Wapokoti na wale watu wengine wanaitwa Karamajong.
Yeah.
The Toposas are... This region belongs to all of us. There is no need of boundaries.
Just trying to curb the cartels in the maize sector.
Of what?
Over flooding the local market with imported maize.
Kenyans doing simple trade with their brothers across the border. You want to go and interfere. What are you interfering in?
It's all about tax evasion cabin also.
Tax evasion. The most important thing, what Kenyans will be bringing is something which Kenyans need. If Kenyans need maize and they are dying, and there's maize in Uganda, how does government want to come in?
To
do what? So people had better die. as you chase small taxes on the border.
It is the same avenue that has killed the Kenyan sugar industry.
That's a different story. In fact, even sugar, even if you close the border, but we have Comesa, which you have been messing with, that should allow sugar from the Comesa region, sugar from Uganda, so long as you take care of the rules of origin. For how long will you protect the sugar farmers? You must make the sugar industry competitive. To the extent that may not be possible, you cancel that cash crop and encourage people to do something else.
Very well.
That's what government should do. Government should not participate in lying to the citizens that we shall revive Mumias and Zoya when the government knows it will never work. That's lying to your citizens. Tell the people of Mumias that hii kitu ilikuwa mzuri. Saa hii mashamba mmesubdivide, hamuna shamba ya kupanda miwa. The soils have become so weak they cannot sustain that crop. Our husbandry is so low we cannot compete with sugar production from other countries. Let's put our head together. Tupande bangi. Tupande bangi. Ama kitu ingine. That's what I expect a thinking government to do, a caring government to do, to tell its citizens that this route we have traveled and we can no longer travel it. Sugar is no longer something that is viable, at least not in Western Kenya.
More of a dead end.
Because there's no land, in fact. People have been... Sugar started in 1970-something in Mumias. My late brother-in-law are the ones who are constructing that factory. I know very well. When I was in Form 2, at my age, a man had an average of 20 acres. 2015, the records could be there, I'm not so sure. But people had land. Since that man has divided among 6 sons, who have in turn divided the same land among 20 of them now. The former, now, where is the land for sugarcane in Mumias? At that alone, there is no land for sugarcane. And then the soils have been depleted so badly. The sort of husbandry you need to put in place to bring competitive sugar production, you can't manage. That effort you'll need to produce sugar that can compete with sugar from Madagascar, Egypt and the rest of these places.
Brazil. Yeah.
It is so much that if you direct the same energy or even less to something else where you have a competitive edge, the people of Mumias will just be smiling every day.
To the bank.
Yes. So we must figure out what is it the people of Western Kenya can do instead of sugar.
Rightly put there.
Yeah.
Then again, sir, moving on to another issue among those that we have discussed today is the issue of dignity in labor. You've always been a champion of Kenyans getting value for their money, for their efforts and all that. We have had the current issue, perennial issue that to do with the pending bills. But very recently, in a way to curb the pending bills issue, the Council of Governors has actually opposed a proposal in one of the bills that seeks to impose a 5-year jail term or a 5 million fine for all those governors who will not have paid contractors before they exit their offices or within the financial years. Do you think the shooting down of that bill has now scattered away any hope of Kenyans taming the pending bills issue?
You know, this pending bill issue is an animal. First of all, many of the bills are fictitious.
How so?
Are fictitious. You know, this is Kenya. There was a serious audit, one done by the national government, that significantly reduced the pending bills in 2018. Significantly. There was another one that was done by individual counties, including my county, that my county reduced from 2.5 billion, 2-point-something billion, to about 800 million.
In a single financial year?
Yeah,
Cumulative.
The bills the new government had inherited.
Oh, yeah.
And that was across counties, where first of all, the audit done at the national level reduced the so-called pending bills seriously. Further scrutiny by counties further reduced significantly. That already tells you that there's a lot of fiction when it comes to those pending bills. However, there are people who have been auctioned, people who have been divorced, people who have committed suicide. For that reason, once we are sure the bills are clean, we should clear them once and for all.
But on the side of the council,
Once and for all, we should clear the bills once and for all.
in one swap.
In one swap. It could be a budgetary allocation from the exchequer. It could be an allocation for equitable distribution, for the equitable that goes to counties,
Yeah.
but structured in a manner so long as it doesn't violate the law, that from the treasury or the exchequer it goes direct to pay the bills. We need to be proactive. Secondly, we should find a system where we streamline bills in terms of, should a county government gives you a job to construct a bridge when they don't have the money for that? Or should they only award a contract when the money is in the
Has hit the account.
We must work that way, because this other way we can't manage. A county cannot give you a job and expect to be getting money, then they pay you. In between, who want you if the governor lost elections and another one came? So we must have a way where the job follows the money and not the money following the job. The job is done on a specific allocation and the money is ring-fenced in an account that the governor cannot access for anything else except for that particular project.
But then again, the Council of Governors have actually presented squarely at the doorstep of the National Treasury the frustrations among contractors, all thanks to the delayed disbursements from the exchequer. They say, for them, they are clean. I mean, they do not have to shoulder the burden. It is the exchequer who actually transmits the funds very much lately. Did you just find it's an opportunity for the governors to make excuses instead of building self-reliance among the devolved units?
Excuses, but at the same time, there's no way you can run a government on a hand-to-mouth basis. The government cannot be disbursing money to counties on a monthly basis. We have to get out of that. The government must sit down and think, how can we allocate counties their money in one tranche? If it is like 360 billion, how can the government get 360 billion and put?
Not in phases.
No. Because then governor is going to get excuses. Then there is favoritism in payments. Unatoa kitu kidogo, deni yako inalipwa. Mimi natoa kidogo, yangu inalipwa, na wengine ambao hawajui kutoa na hawana ya kutoa. Their bills will keep pending. So we want to give counties all their money up front, because they are a government. This idea of waiting every month, at the very worst, it should be twice in a year.
Just twice in a year.
Yeah, like July at the beginning of the financial year, then January. Anything short of that is a joke. How can you be giving counties money every month, even to pay salaries? Which is what I see even where I work.
There you have it. That point by Herman Manyora takes us to the wrap of this conversation on Business Glide, your number one show on matters public policy. And you're always glad anytime you join us. You can also be part of us by being our fan of the week. And it's so easy. Go on Twitter, tag the particular edition of the show that you've watched. Of course, tag me there at Mwenje Richard, at H Manyora as well. And then you slide into my DM with your location and where you're watching us from. We'll definitely give you the credits due. And today, our fan of the week is none other than the executive director at Siasa Place. That is Madam Nerima Wako.
Nerima Wako, wonderful girl, wonderful girl. Oh, so proud of her. We want such a young people.
She has promised to come on the show very soon.
It will be grateful.
It will be grateful.
It will be wonderful. Thank you, Nerima, for being part of us. Thank you very much.
Very well. Until next time on Business Glide, I'm Richard Mwenje. Always a pleasure. Up next on your screen is the Business Glide African Proverb of the Day.